Today we try to have another type of detour that we are not going to work with on Python programming in the ScriptDAT or ScriptShop or whichever. So instead we try to work on with a little bit of functionality within TouchDesigner so that we can extend or try to play around with what we have done with the hand tracking in the last video. So if you remember, we have finished working on this with our hand tracking and ScriptDAT demonstration, and then we can now ready to extend it or convert it into another types of visualizations. So if you remember, we have this ScriptDAT and together with this piece of Python code. And towards the end of the last video, we mentioned that probably we can put it inside a base component. So let's do it quickly. So this one, we can just rename it to something meaningful, for example, hand tracking. And then we'll be ready to cut this one and put it inside the component. And remember, we might need to add the input and output. The input is up top. We put it here. And the output will be that data. And then we connect it back here. So at the very beginning, there will be nothing because we haven't connected with the image here. And there's also another thing we need to deal with. There's a toggle button we added from the Python script, and you are free to leave it here if you want to. The user may double click into the component to turn it on and off. But for a more professional approach, we are going to modify this component and give it another parameter with the same names and option as well. So how to do it? We go to customize our component, which allow you to create something called a custom page. So we add a new page with custom. And then within this particular page, you can also add another parameter, which is a toggle. That is the on-off button that you can use it. You can add this one with this one. And also we name it to be a bit more meaningful. Let's scale the y-axis according to the aspect ratio. So we put it around here. So within the custom page, so you have this toggle button. So let's turn it on first. So how can we connect this button back inside your component with this one? So we need to go to chop to take one more operator as a parameter, and it will automatically connect to your parent, that is your component parameter with the same name aspect. So with this one, we can connect them using the traditional TouchDesigner export chop option. So we can just turn on the viewer active, drag this one to the button, and then release your mouse to export chop. So now this one connected here and also connect back to this particular toggle button. So it's now ready to connect back your video image and then the output to another DAT. So it will give you information like this one. So your palm information, and fingers and hands information here. So that is the thing we have just done in the last video with the introduction of the component. So to reuse the component, so you can just save the component to your folder and give it a name, for example, like hand tracking.tox. Okay, and then we can quit this. Okay, so that is yes, hand tracking. So we're going to create a new TouchDesigner project using the hand tracking talks and as well as the model file from the MediaPipe. So we proceed with a new project. So it may take a little bit time for me to key in those video information. So I just give it a name. Visualize hand, for example. And then I remove the unnecessary things and put back the components as well as the model inside the project folder. So now we are ready to quickly introduce. First, I use the logic capture with the smaller size. Hello, and then I use a resolution top to make it half size, and then eventually so I can give it a now. Let's say this is input, and then I'm going to import my hand. This one is called visualize hand. Yes, the hand tracking component back. Yes, so we just connect this one, and the output will be a that. Yes. So you can see the visualization. So we don't have visualization yet, but the number indicating the position of our finger data. Okay, with this one, we can make use of the conversion between that and chop to create something useful for the visualization. So with your hand, that you see quite a lot of things. So in order to properly or convert it into chop that is meaningful, so we need to customize a little bit. So the first row will be the name, and then the first column will be values, and then we choose channel per column. So in that case, you will have 1, 2, 3 channel with P012 corresponding to X, Y, Z position of your fingers, and also 21 sample, and each sample is one of those from your diagram here. This is 0 to 20 according to this layout. So let's get back to here so that you have this. And then the next step, if you want to, you can also rename it to something a little bit more intuitive. So you can TXTYTZ. So that will be the position information. So what is in my mind is to use the geometry of three-dimensional objects and instancing in order to create a number of objects or symbol to visualize your fingers. So instead of visualizing all the 21 items here, so I may just want to pick up, for example, like the fingertip. So this number 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20 corresponding to the tips of each of the finger. So we can try to work out with this one by using lookup, which is a lookup table. So the table will be the second input. The first one actually is which index you would like to look into. So I can make a first demonstration using a constant, which is just a number, and then we connect here. So you can see that with a finger that it gives you information of this one. And the second thing we might want to do is to customize this lookup, because the index range is between 0 to 1. So, but your fingers or your palm's information is between 0 to 20. So in that case, if you need to pick up any one of them, automatically you need to specify the range accordingly, 0 to 20, that you'll be able to pick up. So 0 will be the first one. And then if you want to, you can try, for example, like 10. So give you the number 10. So we can start work on with this one to call it thumb. So thumb will be number 4. And then you will have the index finger will be number 8. Also have your middle finger, number 12. You have the ring finger. Oh, spelling, but it doesn't matter. Still wrong spelling. Number 16. And also last one will be your pinky, the small finger. It's number 20. So we have all of them connected, but you only see one set of data because we haven't customized this one. We need to have all lookup channel ready. So instead you will see here. From you have TXDY, TZ, index again, middles again, ring, and pinky all have TXDY and TZ. So this table actually is enough for us to put it into visualization. But if you want to make it easier for your geometry to locate the information, we can organize it better by using a shuffle. That means shuffle around the arrangement of this channel. So we can choose something called sequence, or the sample every n channel. So how many channel we're going to offer will be 3 because we have just TX, TY, and TZ. So that's default is 3. So now your finger information or exactly fingertip information will be available here. So if you click, there's only 5 samples corresponding to the thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky finger. Okay, so that will be the position. If you want to, you can also rename it again to make it more meaningful. And then I will name it set position. So now we are ready to create a graphics. As I mentioned, I will use a 3D graphics. and use instancing. So I make a circle, use a transform to reduce the size, and then to connect it to a geometry for visualization. And as usual with 3D graphics, we need camera and also light, and eventually render in 2D with the rendered top. Okay, and then the next step is do the instancing. So the geometry we need to turn on. And then we use the position information to put it to translate with TX, TY, and TZ. So now you are going to have 5 fingertips in the visualization. And lastly, we're going to align it with our video image. So the video image we can do a composite with. Okay, so I should go for the high res one, and then with the fingertip graphics, and put the video under. So that one will go to the output window. So now you see that your hand is here, but the visualization is somewhere around here. So that's a little bit of misalignment. So we need to customize the camera similar to what we have done in the last video. So for the view, instead of using perspective projections, we choose parallel one is orthographics. And also reduce the whole window size into 1 unit. And then make the origin to the bottom left corner rather than the center of the screen. And then we can turn on the full screen to make it more proper. Okay, so the visualization will be something like this one. You can see that the fingertips and the graphics. And to further finish, you can add your own materials. I just use a constant materials around here. So for the texture and color, I'm going to work on it with it now. And you can see that all your fingers are in white color. And if you would like to make some variations, actually you can design your own by using RAM or noise or some color combination. So I just use RAM and to make it just a 5 pixel, and the color is according to your taste, so you can color it to whichever combination you want. Okay, so I may slightly change somewhere in the middle. Okay, so that is the color bar or the color variation. So in terms of 5 pixel, I give it a null, name it as color, and then put it in instancing, which is in the second tab, and then you can drag the color to the color op and choose RGB accordingly. So now your fingertips come with different color. And the next step probably you can further play around with this one is, can we have different graphics on top of your fingertips? So the answer, of course, is yes, but it's a little bit tricky. So I also introduce here as another TouchDesigner technique to do something like texture mapping with a texture 2D operator in order to put it as a color map in your material. So the first thing you might need to plan about it is what do you want to put it on top of your fingertips. So I'll make a very simple demonstration of using the name like thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky. 5 pieces of text correspond to 5 location of your fingertips. So in order to store the description, so again I go to that with a table, and then with viewer active I try to add quite a number of formal to create. The first one is called thumb, second one is index, and then middle, and then ring and pinky. So with this one, I just want to select one of them and put it on each one of the fingertips. So I need to make a selection by customizing the index of the row selection. So if I want to choose the first one, this tool will need to go to 0 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 for each of the selection. And then this one will need to go inside a text because I need to visualize it. So I make the text a little bit bigger in a square. So instead of showing derivative, I want to show the content of this stat, which is here. So I drag it here. We'll give you the name thumb, and then you can further, for example, changing your fonts and font size, etc. Make it bigger. And then if you want to, you can also change the color. So as the background color for fingertips is quite light, so I can make the font color a little bit darker. Okay, so that is one texture that you can put it on top of your circle. But remember that we need to have 5 of them. So one simple way is to create 5 of them, and the other way is you can just create a loop to loop through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to create 5 of this one, and put this into a storage, and then the storage is called the texture 3D storage. So you can add it here, and with this one you can also modify. So we are not going to do 3D texture, but instead 2D texture array for simplicity. So first we need to make it inactive first, and then the size will just be 5 of them because we only have 5 fingers for this demo. And then the rationale or the playing around of this one is we can make a reset first. If you have the first one, you pause this one to make the first one into the array, or this something like a drawer or 5 drawer in a cabinet that you can put the name of thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky into each one of them. So for the second one, you move to number 1, and then it's give you the name index. And then with this one, you also put it to 1, and then you pause this one, and then it will give you the second one. It's not very readable because of the color contrast here. Okay, and then the next step is you do it one by one to store it here. And option 1 is to do it by your hand and then type or click 5 of them. And option 2 is where you can write a program and Python script to automate this one. So I will demonstrate the option 2, which will be a little bit more efficient in case you have 10 fingers or more to put it in the texture 3D array. Okay, to write the program, I choose the text from DAT, and then to start this one. Okay, and the first one we need to do is to reset this one. So we need to press this reset pause button. So the code for this one will be, you find the operator, that's the name called texture 3D1. And then you go to the parameter PAR with the name called reset PULSE pulse. And then you have a command called pulse. And with this one, if you execute this one, you can see from here, if you run the script, you're going to reset. Okay, so after you reset, the next step is you make the selection from here. So you have 5 selections. So how do you know I have 5 selections? Because I have 5 items around here. So actually you can go to the second line. So you can keep a count, and that count will be like from the table 1. And number of rows is 5 in this case. So you get the number of rows and put it here. And then you use your Python script to loop through the sequence from here. So you have 5. And then each of the index you're going to select here, which is in the select one option operator. So you have select one here. You're going to choose the parameter. So the parameter will be these 2 of them. It's the row index start and row index end equal to I, and your select one dot parameter row index and equal to I as well. So you make it consistent, just pick up 1 from the table, and then that one will be sent to here. And at the same time, you might need to change the index here as well. So that one we call replace index from your texture 3D1 operator palm, and then replace index equal to I as well. So after you change the index, the last step you're going to do is to pause in order to make it effective, to send it into the drawer of your array. So that one is the replace single pause. and then you send the pulse there. So you then finish everything. So in order to run this piece of code, so one simple way is to right click and then run the script. So you will have everything set up here properly. But if you want to automate, normally we can run it in the very beginning of our project. So to do so, again, we choose from that. So that's one called execute it. So you can specify actually when start of this particular project, you can run this particular script. So you can rename it to a proper name. For example, this is called init or initialize. So in that case, you call this particular script called init object to run. And then we'll run this one. And also remember to turn on this one, otherwise it won't have anything happen. So you can also test this one by click this pause button. It will again fill up this. So now we have this texture 3D, and you can just drag that into our here. That is our material called constant. So we drag the texture into the color map. And in the very beginning, it only gives you one single of them. So everything will be called thumb at this moment. So I try to make it bigger for you to have a look. Yes, so everything is called thumb at this moment. So to differentiate among your 5 fingers, so we also need to modify the instance around here in this second tab, that is the texture coordinate. So we need to create a sequence of number. So I use the chop and pattern to create a ramp that is a straight linear line that come with 5 steps because we have 5 fingers. And in the step, actually, it ranges from 0 to 4. So the amplitude will be 0 to 4. In this case, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, corresponding to each one of the fingers. So that one, I name it as texture. That will go into here. So you send it to your texture coordinate op, and then in the W is the Z dimension. The UV is the XY, and you can consider it something like a different layer in your texture selection. So we use the channel 1 for the texture selection. So now you have something like this. You have your thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky. And if you would like to make it a little bit more interesting, so you can create a 2D circle and then use the same size as your text and then overlap the two of them. So we can just make a composite again. Yes, and put the circle under your text. and then we're going to redo or repulse the texture again. So the texture will be something like this with the circle. And then the texture will put on top of your color map, so that will give you something like this. So that will be our final output. And I can make it slightly smaller. Okay, so that will be our end of this particular demonstration. So there will be one more exercise for those who want to challenge yourself. Is if you take a look at the 5 fingers and the arrangement of the text. So the text actually will align themselves horizontally. So the text is not rotated. So even though your hand is rotating. So for those who want to challenge yourself, try to do an exercise like if you want to rotate your texture, that is each of the circles around here, such that it will rotate according to your position of your fingers. For example, this is the upright one, and if I rotate it this one, so the index supposedly will be like this in this direction. So you can try to think of a way that how you can work on with this one. So the hint will be like in your geometry, there's another one called rotate up, that you can rotate each one of them independently. Then how you're going to rotate them, you can take a look at this diagram again. So the orientation of each of the finger can be calculated by position of the tip and also the base of your finger. And with these 2 positions, that you can more or less estimate the rotation of your finger. And then based on this, you can rotate the text accordingly to align with the rotation of your fingers. So that is one thing you can play around with, that I will give you the answer in the next post, that how we can manage to create such alignment. So I hope you also enjoy this additional version without going too much on Python programming, but with just some different techniques in TouchDesigner. So until the next one, see you.